My name is Kevin Rutherford. I'm here to talk about life through my life. Welcome to the Accelerate Through Life podcast. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today I've got a very special guest for you, and I'm so excited for you guys to get to know my friend. He's a husband to Morgan, a father to Rowan, a 5-time USMTS champ. My good friend, Rodney Sanders. Rodney, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
How about that setup? Just getting here.
I about threw in the towel already a couple times, but luckily we made it.
But you're not a quitter. You're not a quitter. Well, I appreciate you coming through for us on this deal. Excited to connect with you on this deal and record this podcast. So right out of the gate, I want to ask the hard stuff, right? Man, I want to hear about you and Morgan's first date.
Yeah, it's definitely one I won't ever forget. So we just started talking, and we were in Clear Lake, Iowa, and I was staying in my hauler, and I was parked at the Bennigan's parking lot, and I had a friend down there that we were hanging out with. So she came down, and we hung out with her friends, whatever, and then went to go back to the hauler, and this was probably, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And as soon as we get in there, we get somebody's knocking on the door of the hauler. And I thought, what the hell? So I looked out, and it was her ex-boyfriend knocking on the door, and he just came right on inside like nothing. So
wait, into your hauler?
Oh yeah, right into the hauler. So at this point, this is the first time I ever hung out with Morgan. Didn't really know her. So he was saying they were together, and she was saying they wasn't. And I'm over here just don't know what to believe, if she's crazy or if he's crazy or what's going on. So anyway, I text my buddy, and I'm like, hey, man, you got to get back over here. And he comes over thinking, he's like, man, they must be into some kinky stuff or something, you know. And he came back over, and long story short, he got him out of there, and he wasn't going to leave without her, but she didn't want to go with him. And so we were basically right beside a hotel, and he was like, well, how about you go get a hotel, Rodney will stay here, and I'll take Morgan back to my place, and everything's good. So he was cool with that. But my hauler's got, at that point, had a side door and a back door. So I snuck out the back door, and I met him down the road just a little ways, and he came and picked me up, and we went on to his house. But that was definitely something I won't ever forget.
Man, talk about a first date. You know, me and my wife, we've got a first date story, but it is nothing as wild as that. Man, and who introduced you to? How did you and Morgan meet?
Well, she says, and I don't remember this, but she said we actually met at Texas Motor Speedway, 2013 or 14. She was with her boyfriend at the time, and I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she said we met. But I don't remember that. But long story short, I just got out of a relationship, and had her on social media, and we kind of just started talking a little bit, and then kind of one thing led to another, and started hanging out and went from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you guys had a beautiful wedding just in the last couple of years. So excited to see your marriage thriving. And I know you're an awesome dad to Rowan as well. Well, let's transition a little bit away from the life and into the racing world. Did you know that you always wanted to be a race car driver?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, I didn't know if it'd ever actually pan out, but I always really wanted to. I say that. I actually wanted to kind of be a basketball player, but I'm sure you've seen pictures, and you know my height and size, so that didn't work out. But ever since I started racing go-karts at 8, and then ever since kind of then on, I've always wanted to race, and luckily it's kind of panned out.
I could see you playing basketball about as well as you operate a computer.
What's that?
I said, I can see you playing basketball about as well as you operate a computer.
Yeah, it's not. I'm kind of like, you ever seen the movie Basketball where you just have to shoot and whatever? I'm all right, but when you have to run or dribble, that's when I struggle.
The hand-eye coordination, I love it. We all got to be good at
Yes.
something, and you're certainly good at racing. So this year you won your 5th USMTS Championship, United States Modified Touring Series. I want to talk a little bit about that. Man, I hesitate to say that you were in a slump in the previous years, and yet I know you were still winning races. But to come out and make a statement like you did in 2023, I know you had 5 wins. I mean, your consistency was just off the top. You had 17 top 5s, 27 top 10s, and just 33 starts. What do you credit that consistency to, and how much did it mean to you to win your 5th USMTS championship? Like, at this point, is it just like, it's just another day, I got another championship, or what does it mean to you?
I mean, this one kind of means a lot just because we've kind of struggled, and I mean, like you said, for us, struggled. The last year or two, kind of been off, and to get back, in winning form, that just you get to question, when you're not running good, is it me, or because you change all different kinds of stuff, and it's just more of a confidence booster, knowing that we did it again, and it actually started off really bad at Rocket, and I don't think we were in the top 10 in points till like after race 10 or something like that. But we just kind of got going and kind of found the balance on the car that was just, seemed like just really consistent everywhere we went. So, we didn't have hardly any failures or anything. And it was just super solid. I mean, I think 5 wins, was the most out of anybody, but it's just so competitive that them races are so hard to win. So, I think we just found the balance and got a new crew guy, and it just kind of took a little bit to kind of get us kind of on the same page. And once we kind of got clicking, it just seemed like it all fell together.
Yeah. I mean, me and my, you talk about the new crew guy and getting into sync with each other and figuring out how you guys work well together, et cetera. Me and my dad, we call it the bullets start flying, especially at a USMTS race. You hot lap, you qualify, you heat race. Hopefully you're not in the B main, but there's more times that we are than we're not. And then boom, it's time for the feature. And it seems like from the time we start getting engine heat to the time that the races are over, I mean, it goes quick. Todd Staley does an incredible job at running a smooth show. So how hard is it to stay on top of your game all season? And then the second question I've got is, how do you keep your crew members motivated and focused? And then I'll go from there.
A lot of times it's just, me and the one guy. So it's really tough in general, but we try to have, kind of our stuff laid out, try to have all of our, if we crash, we got, spindles and hubs ready to go. Just try to be prepared that way. That way, if something happens, we can get, something fixed in a hurry, have, body panels ready to go, whatever. So, I feel like that kind of helps us. I mean, just, how it goes. Like you said, sometimes it can be kind of overwhelming. And then there's been times where, we've had just, whoever we're parked by end up helping us, or Tyler Wolf's a big one and his crew guy. But no, Tyler does a good job on keeping motivated. He's young and he wants to race. I think he'd race every night of the week if we could. So that's really, really a good positive for me, because I like to race too. And it's easy to get burnt out. So, having somebody that wants to do it a lot, it definitely helps.
Yeah. How many races, do you know how many races you ran in 2023 alone?
I think we ran 92.
92 nights. That's incredible. So, we talk about him keeping you kind of hungry and wanting to continue to race. As a driver, as a race car driver, and being a fellow competitor of yours, how do you stay so focused and not taking a lap off when you know that you're doing this for a living, and you can't afford to necessarily make a mistake, or you need to minimize your mistakes as much as possible? How do you stay focused through such a long, grueling season?
It's just, I mean, I don't know. It's just a hunger to win, I guess, is more than anything. Just you're always wanting, even when you do run good or whatever, you're always wanting to do better, where can I always try to look at where we can improve on and, all that stuff. So, I know it definitely does get sometimes kind of overwhelming and, kind of get burnt out, but, it's definitely helps when you got, just somebody that wants to go all the time. And, I always like to race. So, but it definitely does help when you run good. When you tear up stuff and run on the back, it's definitely easier to want to throw in the towel, but more than when you run good. But, we're just, I've always just kind of been eager to win and, you just got, kind of got to be smart about it too. A lot of times with just, a lot of times me and Tyler. So, we got to, take our, a lot of times I don't like to, but take our third or fourth, whatever. And, sometimes it's like, well, we could, have a chance to win, but we might crash at the same time. But, when you're point racing and stuff, you got to be pretty smart about that. And I know sometimes it's tough, but, in the long run, it, usually pays off.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's a time to go for it and there's a time to hold what you got, and I can recall racing with you that there's times where I know you've given me room because you were a points racing and, I'm washing all the way up to the wall, but you had a run on me and you lifted because you wanted to live to fight another lap, right? And that's the consistency that it takes to win championships like you have. So I guess kind of transitioning from there, this is one thing I think me and you are definitely going to agree on is that winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners. I'm sure you've heard that quote. A lot of racers believe you are so much better than them because they're missing something. You're doing something that they're not doing. So I want to hear the humble truth from you. Do you think, what makes Rodney Sanders so good? Is it because you are you doing something that maybe they're not doing and that they need to continue to test and try to thrive to get better at? Or are they adding points 3 and 4 to their race program that are helping them get distracted and you execute points 1 and 2 at such a high level that that's what makes you fast?
I don't really know, I guess. I just know like it's easy to get wrapped up in what other people are doing or so-and-so's doing this, but it seems like I do the best when I just worry about me. If I'm struggling, getting in the corner or getting off the corner or whatever it may be, that's for you just got to worry about your car, worry about, what's going on with your stuff. And just, we test, if we can, we, try to test, a lot. And we try to do some of this testing at, sometimes even like a smaller race just to try to learn. But I would say just kind of worrying, just working on your stuff, figuring out what's, what you're missing and just worrying about that instead of what kind of everyone else is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I like that answer. Well, and along those same lines, I kind of want to transition and discuss a little bit about how unique our sport is. In various sports such as football and baseball and basketball, etc., it's you and that ball, right, in that moment or whatever that looks like. In our sport, our equipment has a lot to do with our performance. We're only as good as our equipment to some extent, and we both know that technology has really advanced a lot in just the last 10 years in racing. So how do you stay on top of the evolution of the sport, and where do you see our sport headed? Are we in good hands? Are we in bad hands as racers or as fans of racing? Should we be worried, or do you think we're heading in a good direction?
Man, it's like technology, like you said, is really crazy. I mean, it's just even looking at the cars, like videos from 4 or 5 years ago to now, how much they've advanced and changed. And I mean, I think it's all good. The only thing that concerns me is just the cost of everything. I know as a racer, but it just costs so much to even get tires now, and just motors and everything. I don't know if there is an answer to it, to try to keep some of the costs down. But I know, I just feel like the less rule changes they make is, because every time there's a rule change, it seems like it costs money. So, the more, we kind of keep it simplified. And I mean, obviously there's got to be structure and rules, but, it's just, I would say just try to keep everything, the best they can, keeping the costs down. That's going to be the biggest trick.
Yeah, well, and along those lines, let's kind of stay on that topic and discuss the cost. And how does a team such as Rodney Sanders Racing, how do you get up and down the road? If you don't mind sharing, what does pay structures look like? Like, I want people to go, look you up on social media, of course, and buy merchandise from you. And I think a lot of the times they want to know, like, am I supporting the driver? Am I supporting the owner? Is it both? What does that look like?
Um, I just have a lot of different guys that pitch in and do what they can. It's not like I got, one guy that just has a open checkbook and lets me go get whatever. One guy might, help freshen a motor. One guy might help, pay for tires, or, one guy might help buy the diesel fuel in the truck. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to, what can I make off winnings, and like you said, t-shirt sales and just stuff like that. All that little bit helps. So we just got to try to keep it the most cost effective that we can, just because it's not like it's a corporate deal or anything like that. So just bunch of different people. I mean, just do what they can, and it all adds up and it all helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Every little bit helps. Well, kind of transitioning from that, something I've always wanted to know, and I have this theory in my head that on Monday morning when I get up and go to work, you get up and work on race cars, right? I don't know if I'm right or wrong when I say that. So what does a race week look like for Rodney Sanders? Like when you guys are right in the middle, we used to have the hunt and the USMTS Championship, but when now just in regular USMTS competition, week to week racing, what does your week structure look like?
I mean, you pretty much said it. Just working on race cars. Usually if we're, don't race Sundays, Sunday's wash day, and clean up everything. And then, Monday we start, seeing what we need. If we got to order stuff, you got to get it Monday. That way it's there. And then, it's just like a full-time job to do it, because it seems like, the trailer needs something, or the toter home needs something, or, it's, especially got two cars. So we're always trying to have, body panels, ready to go, wrapped if we can, just, trying to be prepared as we can. Just, like you said before, it's so fast paced sometimes that if you're not, prepared, I feel like sometimes the races are won in the shop, just being prepared on everything. So that's what we try to do. And then, in the meantime, we might, if a slow week or whatever, have, if I have somebody's car to work on or set up or scale or whatever, I'll do some of that. But, yeah, just, basically do, full-time racing stuff, get tires ready, just whatever we got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I mean, I guess kind of transitioning from there, I want to talk about living life on the road. And it's not all it's cracked up to be. I mean, I have the utmost respect. I think the most I've probably ever spent weekends on the road is probably 12 to 15 in a year. And obviously, since getting married, having a kid, and growing my business, I've toned that down significantly. But living life up and down the highway, man, people don't underestimate or don't have a clue, I guess, or underestimate how many miles you guys spend up and down the highway all year long, at dirt tracks, sleeping in the toter home, eating bologna sandwiches, whatever, right? So I guess my question is that I absolutely suck at taking care of both my physical and mental health when I'm on the road racing. So how do you balance that? Like, I feel like when I'm on the road racing, I'm sleep deprived. I have less energy because my diet sucks, the whole nine yards. How do you balance all of that? And, does it look, is it as rough as it looks sometimes running up and down the highway all the time?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's, especially if you got to travel, between races night to night, that's when it really gets, tough. Like you said, it's a lot of super late nights. A lot of times we'll drive from one track to the next and not get there till 2 or 3 in the morning. Then you kind of get used to sleeping in till 10 or 11 because you go to bed at, 2 or 3. So you're your schedule gets off. It's kind of hard to go back when you get off the road, to get back in somewhat of a normal schedule. So I don't adjust to that very well. But yeah, it's like you said, as far as like, it's just always, you're always, on the go, and a lot of energy drinks and coffee. And that's probably not the best for, like you said, our physical condition. Cause, a lot of times you're eating a truck stop hot dog at, 1 a.m. or whatever, but that's all there is. So, but it's not too bad when, like this year, USMTS, most of them were, 3 races at, one track. So you didn't have to travel. So that helped as far as that standpoint, the cost a little bit. But at the same time, if you're at the same track for 3 or 4 days, by that last day, you're ready to go do something else. You're stuck a lot of times can't go anywhere. You're just stuck at the track, and, it's fun to hang out with your buddies and whatever after the races sometimes. But at the same time, it's good to go somewhere different.
Yeah. Well, and a fun question here. What is your favorite meal while you're at the track?
Well, I don't know about a favorite, but one of them I like, and a lot of people don't like it, but just quick and easy. I eat a lot of SpaghettiOs. So, that's kind of my go-to when I'm, need something quick, and usually nobody else eats them because nobody else likes them. So I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, there you go. There's nothing wrong with SpaghettiOs. Okay, we all love our childhood. Well, I mean, kind of transitioning. I just want to tell a quick story about you and our relationship. So before I kind of just came onto the scene, and you were so kind to help me set up my, I didn't have a Spring Smasher back in the day, so you would double check my stuff. Obviously, I've been running MB Customs, the same chassis as you, so if I ever needed bolt-on parts, you were there for me. But actually, I was at MB Customs back in, this would have been 2017, 18, somewhere in that time frame. I had wrecked my car previously the month before in a USMTS race at Arclitex, and I was up there getting it reclipped and fixed. And you came back into town, I think with a modified and a late model at the time. And you invited me out with your guys at dinner. Me and my dad were standing in our toter there in the parking lot, and you had invited me out to hang out with you guys. And at the time, I didn't know you all that well, so I kind of feel like that's where our friendship really began to take off. And then, from at the races, it was just those random acts of kindness that I feel like Rodney Sanders is always offering to people. And one time it was you remember when you asked me if I liked pickles?
I don't honestly, but I probably know where you're going, but I don't actually recalling that exact situation.
You've done this to other people. Then you were like, "Hey man, do you like pickles?" And I kind of looked at you like, "This is not what I was expecting when I walked over here." But yeah, I mean, I like pickles, and we went in the holler, or actually in the trailer, and started. You had this awesome. Some lady had brought you some homemade dill pickles, and I think some were even spicy or something. But anyways, I mean, it's always those random acts of kindness that continues to elevate your success. Not only are you an incredible race car driver with talent that truly can't be taught, but you're also an incredible human being. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, you're an awesome husband to Morgan, and you're an incredible father to Rowan. So I just wanted to share that story while I was thinking about it, because it's just been, and it's things like this, right? I mean, I'm not paying you to be on this podcast, and you're just willing to help your friends out, and you're willing to help the sport grow that we all love. So just want to say thank you for that. And kind of transition to what motivates Rodney Sanders to get up in the morning. Are you motivated by money, relationships, success? What motivates you?
A little bit of everything, just like I said earlier, I probably want to win as bad or more than anybody. So, and then a lot of times, it's not always the most financial, profitable deal. I mean, there's times it can be all right, but, a lot of times it's like, man, it seems like I'm doing a lot of work, and, if I go out and not run good or break and not get any money, but, it's what I love to do. So, it's easier to get motivated on doing something if it's something you like. So I don't really know what else. If I wasn't doing this, I don't really know what I would be doing. So it just makes it a lot easier doing something you love.
So is it safe to say that there is no plan B for Rodney Sanders? Like it's racing or nothing?
Well, I mean, I know I can't race forever, so I'm going to have to eventually do something. So, but I'm sure it'll probably be something racing related. So, who knows what, down the line what that might be. But definitely I don't see anything in the near future.
Well, no, I mean, I can absolutely respect that, right? That you know what you want. And I'll be honest with you, Rodney. I mean, I think a lot of our society is struggling with their mental health and just the day-to-day grind because they can't figure out what they're passionate about or what they really want to do in life. And you're living that dream. And I know we've talked about some of the hardships of running up and down the road and eating SpaghettiOs and things of that nature. And at the same time, though, there's a lot of people that would absolutely love to be in your position. And I know you know that, and that's kind of what keeps you going as well. So with that being said, what does the off season look like for Rodney Sanders? What do you got planned?
It's going to be, I mean, it is an off season, but it's kind of not. We're getting ourselves kind of ready, putting bodies on. I have a car sold, so getting that all ready, and then have a new car that's at MB Customs we got to go put together, and we're actually going to take it to the PRI show in a couple weeks in Indianapolis. So we're going to go do that, and then Rowan's birthday is December 15th. So, and then with Christmas and all that, I'm kind of back and forth between my house up in Minnesota and I'm at my parents in Texas right now just because it's a lot warmer here. But just between back and forth and that, and then we start first part of January at Wild West Shootout. So we got that coming up, and then we usually take on some few jobs here and there to body work or setup work, just whatever we can do to kind of justify some income coming in and off season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one thing I didn't hear there is so you don't have any vacations planned or anything of that nature? Like you don't try to get away and enjoy any time off when you're not racing? Take Morgan on a nice trip, anything like that?
Well, she really wants to. So we went last year to for our honeymoon. We went to the Keys. So I'm sure we'll do something. Maybe we might do something after the first of the year sometime. But just really don't really have time with the next several weekends kind of all booked up. But a lot of times our vacation involves racing, and I'm sure she gets tired of that. But we'll have to go somewhere before too long.
Well, and I was going to ask you about that. I mean, obviously, she married you. She understood what you do for a living when she married you. I noticed that she's at most of your races. It seems like on the road. So she enjoys going up and down the road and traveling and being at all the different racetracks. Pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Her dad raced, and her brother-in-law races, and her dad still races. I think this is like his 50th year anniversary or something racing this year. So she's been around it her whole life, and she's lucky enough to have a remote job so she can, be wherever as long as she has internet. So that really helps for us. So, especially with Rowan, and a lot of times she's the one going to get him if I can't. So, she's definitely a big part of this. So can't do it without her, that's for sure.
That's awesome. So you do have internet in the toter?
Well, no, but usually she'll, go to Starbucks or,
Yeah,
she does have a little I don't know, little Verizon deal, but it seems like half the time it doesn't work that well. So
the hotspot.
One way or another, she gets her work done.
I was going to say, because if you had internet in the toter, you wouldn't know how to use it anyway. So I was going to be shocked.
Yeah, I know. That's all her. I barely know how to run the TV. We got like 4 remotes, so I don't even know what's what.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. If you had one takeaway you wanted the listeners to take away from today's episode, maybe it's a young kid that is listening to this that's a local racer at their dirt track, trying to become the next Rodney Sanders, and maybe it's somebody that's no longer racing anymore and just living vicariously through you, what would it be?
Just, I don't really know. I guess if you are passionate about something and just pursue your dreams, you never know. Usually a lot of hard work, and it's just don't give up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, consistency brings certainty, right? And if you want it bad enough, you got to be willing to put in the work. And that's definitely how you become a 5-time USMTS championship. Well, at the end, kind of piggybacking off of that, I end every episode with this question: Is it worth it? Is it all worth it? All the effort, all the time, all the money spent. Is it worth it?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you win or win a big race or a championship or something. I mean, it's there's not much of a more rewarding feeling than that. So I mean, your your lows are gonna obviously probably outweigh your highs almost all the time. So but it's very rewarding when you put in the work and you have something to show for it. So I would say it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I agree 100%. What do you want when Rodney Sanders is done racing, and it's time for that next chapter? How do you want to be remembered?
It's just hopefully I can be remembered as a great racer, and and then I don't know, just maybe a good human being on and off the track. So that's I just don't I don't know. I don't want to. I guess I don't really know as far as. I mean, obviously everyone's got their opinions, and I'm sure there's some that don't like me out there. But I just kind of want to be remembered as someone brings up my name. Hopefully, most people have something good to say more than bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I mean, I think I would say keep doing what you're doing then, right? Because I'm like you. I'm sure there's people out there that don't like Rodney Sanders, but I don't know him, right? It seems like everybody I know tends to like you pretty well, and we all have that legacy that we are working towards of leaving behind. We all know that we're not going to do this forever. We're not going to stay in our prime forever, right? And I love racing as my hobby, and yet. I want to be known as a man of faith, a man of God that also sells real estate and then races as a hobby, right? So last question, and I'll let you go. I know you got a lot of things to get done. When is Rowan going to start racing? What does that look like? Do you want to postpone that so you can keep racing or so he can play other sports? What does that look like?
I mean, that's kind of up to him. He's mentioned this summer that he wants a go-kart. So, if he don't want to race, then I'm not gonna push him. But if he wants to race, I'll support him. So he's getting to the age though. If he wants to, we're gonna have to get him a go-kart pretty soon. So he's really into football right now. I don't know if he's got the genes to be a football player, but he definitely loves the Minnesota Vikings. So we can't come to agreement on what football team, because I like the Cowboys and he says they suck. So he likes the Vikings. So, but at least he's passionate about racing and football. So just whatever he wants to do, we'll support him.
Well, and it's natural for a son to like the opposing team of the dad. I grew up a big Jeff Gordon fan because my dad didn't like Jeff Gordon. He loved Dale Earnhardt. So naturally, I rooted for Jeff Gordon because that's who my dad was rooting against. So that's awesome that he's a big football guy too. Those are my two passions as well. I love football outside of racing. So, well, hey, thank you for being on here, man. I really do appreciate your time today. I think this is going to be an episode that gets shared as people kind of could, see the other side of Rodney Sanders. I mean, a lot of times when we see you, we're at the racetrack, obviously, and it's just not as easy to catch up unless it's a multiple day show. But let's just say fans that roll into pits right as hot laps are starting, right as qualifying is starting, and they're trying to buy T-shirts and things like that. I know sometimes all of us racers can come off as kind of rude because we're focused, right? We're trying to finish the job at task and win the race. So, hopefully this kind of helps them see the other side of you that, yes, you do have that focus, you do have that determination to win the race, but you also have a huge heart for other people. In the way you want to be remembered. So, hey, if you're going to stop by Rodney Sanders holler and get apparel, do it when the bullets aren't flying, right, Rodney? So we'll wrap this up. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Rodney, you got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Accelerate Through Life podcast. Please rate and review the show wherever you get your podcast. See you next time.